You held on to those documents when you knew the federal government was seeking them and then had given you a subpoena to return them.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's
you
the
mind?
answer?
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
Meet Kaitlan Collins, the pompous and condescending little lady who thinks she can stump Trump. Not only did she fail miserably there, but she loves to lose so much, she kept on going. Watch this.
You're a Yale-educated attorney, and I want to get your take on what we saw happen last week, those immunity arguments before the Supreme Court, where Trump's team, his attorney, argued that a president could order the military to stage a coup and to have their political opponent assassinated and be immune from prosecution unless this theory that they were impeached and then convicted by the Senate. Do you share the view that presidents are basically above the law?
I don't know what I can't stand more. Her smug face, or her stupidity. Obama should be rotting in a gulag in Siberia for the Fast and Furious scandal alone, but he isn't. And even though Hillary wasn't a president, she was married to one, so she's immune by proxy. I'll just say one word, Benghazi. Kaitlan knows precisely what she's doing here, but JD isn't falling for it.
Look, Kaitlan, I think we have to be careful about imputing words into the president's attorneys that they didn't actually say. What the president's attorney said is that what the president's attorney said, Kaitlan, to be clear, is that there is a checks and balances system in our Constitution. Now, some things the president does, private acts, are liable to criminal penalties, but most of the things that the president does in their official duties, we have a system of impeachment. We have a system of checks and balances, the legislative branch that I'm a member of, the judicial branch. I did not read the president's attorneys as saying that the president could order a coup.
So let me get this right. A sitting president is supposed to plan a coup against himself. That's like trying to steal your own wallet. Completely stupid and makes no sense. Only the mainstream media would push such a crazy story to distract from real problems.
The president's attorneys are saying that the constitutional checks and balances system would address that problem, and I think that's an important distinction.
But let me stop you right there, because I listened to this. It's John Sauer, Trump's attorney, and when he was asked by one of the justices if the president could order the military to stage a coup and would it count as an official act, meaning he couldn't be prosecuted for it, he said it would depend on the circumstances. I mean, what circumstances warrant a president ordering the military to stage a coup?
Her behavior is straight out of the Mean Girls playbook. Nasty and rude with a smirk that screams entitlement. That smirk isn't just a facial expression, it's a billboard advertising her condescending attitude towards anyone who dares to disagree with her.
Well, first of all, I did say it depends on the circumstances, so that opens up a whole lot of avenue for context there. But more importantly, Kaitlan, he's just saying that would count as an official act.
But that's an official act in your view, too?
But could I finish the answer to the question, Kaitlan?
She knows that as soon as Vance starts to outsmart her, she has to cut him off. And usually, she does it with a laugh that belittles everything he says. All this says is that she isn't there to debate. She's there to try to make him look bad. This is the sad state of affairs America has come to expect with the left, and why it's only going to get worse if we keep letting these kinds of people run the show. It's not about having a fair debate anymore. It's about shutting down the other side and doing everything to make them look bad.
An official act, there are a number of checks and balances in our system. There's the impeachment process. There's the budgeting authority that Congress has. There are a number of ways where Congress has a check and balance control over the President of the United States. All he's saying is that the criminal liability procedures that exist in this country don't cover the President's official acts. And by the way, how could anybody disagree with that, Kaitlan? Should Barack Obama be prosecuted for killing an American citizen via a drone strike? There are a number of examples in American history where if you apply the standard, the lawfare standard of the Biden administration against Donald Trump, it would make the presidency impossible to actually execute the law.
Yeah,
so
I know
in the name of taking down their political opponent, Kaitlan, these guys are really pushing a legal theory that I think would destroy the presidency, whether a Democrat or Republican was in charge.
Well, I don't think Jack Smith is running for office.
Collins isn't interested in the truth. She's interested in clicks, views, and making her political opponents look stupid. It's all about the show, not the substance. She knows if she can trip up Vance, it'll make a great headline. But Vance isn't playing her game. He's sticking to the facts, and that's why he's coming out on top and making her look like a fool.
But on what you're saying, you're basically saying that if the president orders the military to stage a coup, you believe the only remediation for that is that he can be impeached or that Congress can restrict the budget?
Well, Kaitlan, first of all, you're dealing with hypotheticals here that are completely outside the bounds of this particular situation. Donald Trump did not order a coup, despite the fact that a lot of media people say that he did.
Even though she keeps bullying him, Vance isn't backing down. He's smart and well-spoken. He's not just getting by. He's using her attacks to show off his brains and talk logic and common sense. She might think she's got all the answers, but she's a journalist, not a lawyer, and it shows. And when I say journalist, I'm using big air quotes. A better word to describe her would be an activist. Bottom line, when she oversteps her expertise, it's a poetic justice that she gets called out for it. Stick to your lane, sweetheart.
On January the 6th, he encouraged people to protest peacefully. And of course, most people on January 6th did protest peacefully. What I'm saying is that you have to have some measure of liability for the official acts of presidency of the United States. And the way to create a check and balance on that system is what the Constitution prescribes here. You can't have prosecutors, many of whom, of course, are deeply embedded with the Democratic Party, trying to destroy the life of a former president who's now running for president because they think that they have a better argument for what that president should have done. You can have a political disagreement with Donald Trump, and that's totally reasonable. You shouldn't destroy the presidency in the process. And I think that's what a lot of the Biden administration Department of Justice is trying to do.
But you essentially are agreeing that the presidents should not be able to be prosecuted.
Look at his smirk now. Every time she tries to corner him, Vance flips it right back on her. He's not just playing defense, he's playing offense too. Every dumb question she throws at him, he turns into a chance to highlight her ignorance and bias. It's like watching a cat play with a mouse. She thinks she's got him, but really, she's the one getting schooled.
Ask you something else, because as I mentioned, my question is, does it give you any pause to be his vice president, given how he has treated Mike Pence?
Kaitlan, I'm extremely skeptical that Mike Pence's life was ever in danger. I think politics people like to really exaggerate things from time to time.
I know a lot of folks in the Democratic Party, Senator.
A lot of folks in the Democratic Party, Kaitlan, act as if January the 6th was the scariest moment of their lives. I think, look, January 6th was a bad day. It was a riot. But the idea that Donald Trump endangered anyone's lives when he told them to protest peacefully, it's just absurd. And the entire legal basis of this prosecution of Donald Trump from Jack Smith.
But they were chanting that they wanted to hang him.
When your hatred for one man blinds you to common sense, you end up like Kaitlan, lost in a fog of irrationality. Her obsession has clouded her judgment so thoroughly that she's become a caricature of bias and emotional overreaction. JD Vance combines professionalism with razor-sharp intellect, making him a formidable force in any debate. Pair that with Trump's unyielding resolve, and you've got a dream team for 2024 that could truly drain the swamp. Vance is on the same page as Trump with strict immigration, cutting U.S. foreign aid, and tough trade rules. They see eye to eye, making it easier to pull in those Midwest voters. Vance's story is gold for blue-collar folks. He grew up in rural Ohio, served in the Marines, and wrote Hillbilly Elegy. He's someone working-class voters can relate to in key states like Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, which are key swing states. Vance clicks with Trump and the MAGA crowd. He's got a mix of Ivy League smarts, military grit, and business chops that make him a big name in Republican circles. Strategically, this move is aimed at shoring up support in the Midwest, where Vance's background will hit home. It's a smart play to balance out any weak spots elsewhere. Even though Vance doesn't have tons of political experience, he's got the right conservative views and could be a future leader in the MAGA movement.